Okay guys, so got some really cool things coming for the shop here for this workbench. I'm going to try to build the ultimate workbench here. Something I wanted to do for a really long time. So I've got some stuff ordered. We'll see what we can do here. You can see we've cleaned up quite a bit here. The shop was a disaster for a little while, and we finally got it kind of under control here. And I think if we get some more storage, it's going to look even better. So I've got to clean out these boxes here. These are actually just truck boxes that we bought. You know, you'll see contractors with those on the back of their trucks. And these were, I think, in a van, and we picked them up for actually a pretty good price. But they're full of boxes, like all of our tools that have boxes and stuff. I'm not sure that one's got much in it. We needed to run a support all the way across here to hold these. We never did, but this is all going to change now anyway. So I got to empty these boxes out so we can get them out of there, because we're going to have to start modifying these benches. The idea is to put toolboxes underneath these benches. So I think it'll look awesome and be awesome. And these workbenches, I got an old vise, thinking about getting maybe a new one. There's stuff up there I'd like to get off the bench. I'd like to have the bench totally clear. You know, when you're working up there, pounding on things, you want your bench clear. Dad made these up. I mean, these are heavy duty benches. And we've spilt stuff on them. We've used them. You can see the paint's wore off them. Probably gonna pull them out here. We'll sand them up, modify them, and then I'll probably be painting these things. Because the gray is kind of, I guess we got gray in the shop here. But I think black will look better with them, so that's probably what we'll do. So I gotta get cleaning up these boxes, and we'll get them out of there. Okay, so the benches are cleaned off for the most part. We've got some stuff on this one here, but we're gonna do one at a time here, I think. We'll see how that works out. We're gonna have to cut these legs off here and move them outward, because I've got 52-inch toolboxes coming, 3 of them. One is going to go in the center, and then we'll have 2 on each side of it. This shelf down here has got to be took out. I believe the toolboxes are 18 inches deep, and that is not 18 inches. It's got to come clear back here. We think we're going to be able to just cut some welds off this shelf, and the top shelf will come out, and then we'll just have to cut the structure back. I'm going to take my pallet rack. We're going to bring this out here, and we're going to see what we can do with it. Okay, so I got that bottom shelf cut off. There was quite a few welds on there. I didn't figure Dad would skimp on welds. He never does. And they're good welds, so they're hard to cut. The trick to cutting welds is to actually just cut the weld. You're just trying to cut the weld and separate, and then I use the hammer and chisel, kind of break the rest of it once you get most of it cut. But like I said, good welds are hard to cut. Crappy welds are easy to cut and break, but that's gonna do it for tonight. I'm gonna head home. We'll get back at this tomorrow. Okay, so I got that bottom shelf off that bench there, and there's going to be a bit of change in the plans that we had. I think we figured out something else a little better on these benches, so you'll see it come together here. I'm going to get the shelf off the bottom of this one. Also going to pull this vise off. This thing is seeing better days. We might pull it apart, see if we can save it, but probably gonna have to move that air hose too, because like I said, our plans have changed here on what we're doing. But yeah, I got a bunch more grinding here on this one to get this off of there, and then hopefully my toolboxes are gonna come in tomorrow or the next day, so we can start putting this plan together. But I gotta get back to work here, grinding more welds. Okay, so Dad's cleaned the bottom of these benches up. Had to clean up the welds that I cut off to get them out from underneath the big workbenches. And you can see we moved some toolboxes out. Got my toolboxes over here. You can see there we just added another 8 foot of pegboard. So that should be nice. Not all of that's going to be usable because this DeWalt toolbox is going back over here. It's going to be butted up against the cabinets there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my Earnhardt snap-on toolbox, but we'll figure that out later. But yeah, we've got the pegboard up. It's the same thing as these here. It's just screwed on to the 2 studs that are running through the shop there. And now I got to wipe it off here, and we got to paint it gray, just like the other one, so it matches the other one there. I think I found some gray paint that we used on this, so I'm going to get to painting. You can see we've lost a light, the other light that was there, so we're going to have to do something about that. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. I did move some of my signs there a little bit. I'm going to be moving them around, but waiting on the toolboxes yet. Still have not come in, so hopefully they're going to be in here soon, and we can start putting some of this stuff back together. Well, I got my first coat on there, and it's not really looking like it's the right paint, but the thing is with paint is when it cures, it will usually darken up. So it looks quite a bit lighter right now, but I don't know, it's been a long time since we painted these. I seen we had some gray paint there. I figured, I'm pretty sure this is it, but I won't know until it actually dries here. But first coat's on, gonna let that dry, then we'll put a second coat, maybe a third coat on this, just so when we put tools on it, it don't scratch very easily. Okay guys, so the pegboard paint has dried. It's pretty obvious that it's not the right color. This is quite a bit lighter in color, and it's more of a gloss. This is more of a flat. So looks like we're gonna have to repaint the whole pegboard if we want it to match. And we got enough paint to do them all this color. I don't really like this color. I want to do something a little different. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do something a little different if we got to paint the whole thing. All the tools got to come off anyway. And we'll get it painted, I guess. Another thing is we got the toolboxes finally. This is what we picked up. It's a 52-inch. It's a roller cabinet, is what they call them. And you're supposed to stack on the top one on top of that. We're not going to do that. I actually have two more right here. So these are the soft close drawers. So you open them up and they just close. It's got the soft close. They kind of open a little hard, so hopefully the tools don't fling forward. But yeah, that's 3 of these. That's 13 feet of tool storage. So should be a lot of space for us. But now we got to figure out how we're going to set these up. We're going to hopefully put them along the wall there. Like I said, 13 feet. I believe they're going to go to about there. Then we're going to put one of these workbenches there. And then my DeWalt toolbox, I guess. So that's the plan right now. It could change. It's been changing this whole time. So we'll keep going here, get everything figured out, and I'll let you know what exactly is going on. Okay, so there's coat number 2. Decided to go with it's almost black. It's not quite black, but it's almost black on the pegboard there. I think with the darker color, the tools are gonna pop more sitting up there than with the lighter gray. Hopefully we don't lose light output. That hopefully the dark won't absorb all the light, but this is what we're gonna go with, I think. I really like that. Like I said, this is coat number 2. I think it's good. It's eggshell. It's not a gloss. It's not a flat. I wanted a flat. They didn't have the flat, so I had to get the eggshell. They said it was almost the same thing, so. It looks a little shiny now, because like I said, I just got done with my second coat. But I think it's going to be nice. I'm going to like this a lot better than the gray. So that just means I got to take all them tools off, and we got to finish painting the rest of this pegboard, but I think it'll be worth it. Okay, so we got them all unboxed, and I got them in position. I think that's where they're gonna go. And I think we're gonna put a bench right here, and then like I said, my toolbox on the end. I've got 2x4s underneath the toolboxes, just to get them lower to the ground. Like I said, they're rolling carts or whatever they call them. But I'm going to use them, or we're going to use them as stationary toolboxes with a bench on top. But anyway, I put 2x4s down there to kind of get them a little bit off the ground. I didn't want to set them right on the ground, so that's what I did. It gives me a little bit of a kick panel down there, so the person ain't kicking the bottom of the toolbox. But I've got them pretty much leveled out and everything, and I gotta say, I think it looks pretty awesome. So I guess the next thing to do here is to figure out the tabletop, or the bench top that's going to go over top of these. Like I said before, we plan on using these pieces here because they're exactly the same width as these toolboxes. So we're going to try to use these. That is 13 feet of toolboxes. So we've got two 8-footers here. Probably going to have to cut them, possibly weld them. I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not, but they're going to probably have to be attached somehow. And somehow they'll have to be attached up here. Again, we haven't quite figured that all out, but I'll show you when we do figure it out. I want the bench top to be the same height as this one, so it's just one continuous flat surface all the way across there is what I want. We're gonna have issues with our air. We had our air right there, so we're gonna have to do something with that. I do have the air down here that might work. This one we got to turn it upside down, I think, because it's rolling up the wrong way. But this is what we got right now, and I don't know, things might change. We got to think about it, look at it here, and figure it out, I guess. Okay, so pretty much done with this now. I gotta do a little bit of welding on the back side here. But pretty much all I've done is I run down and with my cutoff wheel kind of made a groove, tried to cut some of the steel away, and then along that cut I just bent it back up. That gives me a nice folded edge, gives me a nice rounded edge down here. And that's what I got there. Should give me a good edge to bolt onto the cabinet there. That's what I'm doing this for, to bolt onto the cabinet. So that should give me a nice edge here for that. Probably too nice of an edge. No one's even going to see this. But I'm going to run some welds along here because, like I said, I went through and I cut that. So I'm going to put some welds there just to strengthen that up a little bit. And I'm going to probably, once I get some help here, test fit this one bench up there. This is only like 8 foot, I think. So we're not going to go all the way across there, but we're going to see how this fits, how it looks and everything. So I'll do a little bit of finishing up on this edge here and it'll be ready to go up there. Okay, so test fitting the top there, and it's fitting pretty much perfect. Really couldn't have done any better with fitment. I mean, it's fitting perfectly there. I got a little bit of overhang there, it's perfect. I got 2x4s under there laid sideways. I mean, perfect fitting there. I may have to pull these toolboxes down to be able to get this to butt up against there because there's a lip on this toolbox, but that ain't going to be any problems at all. It's actually fitting so good that actually better than I thought it would. So I'm gonna get to modifying the other one. I'm gonna have to cut this off straight. We'll get the other one in there, get that test fitted. Probably going to then weld them together. We'll just do this one piece. I think that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, it's really turning out real nice, guys. That's gonna be so awesome looking. Awesome looking and functional. Okay, so I believe I figured out how I'm gonna mount this bench top. You can see I've got 2x4s laying sideways all along there. That's given me my perfect spacing to have the workbench sit on there. Plus it should distribute the weight really good and even offer maybe a little bit of cushion if someone starts beating on that workbench. And all I've done is I just screwed them in from the bottom. I did have to drill some holes in the front side, but the back side I already had some holes, so it was pretty easy. So I've got that taken care of. There's slots right here. There's 3 of them, and I'm going to be bolting the bench top to there. You know, this is tin. It's not even real thick tin, but that's not going to hold any of the weight. That's just going to hold the bench in place from going back and forth and going outward. So I've got that marked out on my top before we pulled it off. So I got to drill holes. I'm going to weld a nut on the inside of the bench top. So all I got to do is open this door here from the inside, bolt them on, and that'll be done. Then I'm going to be welding studs on the underside of the workbench. Going to be using these holes that are in the toolboxes here. There's 2 of them on each one. I'm not going to use them all. Just maybe use 3 on this big one, and then maybe 2 on the smaller one on that side. But I think that'll be good. I'll put a 2x4 across here, so that way, you know, once I cinch it down here, it'll pinch all this together. Probably screw them to both these 2x4s, and it should make a really solid mounted worktop. So that's the plan. I'm going to get to working on this. I got to drill the holes on this side. You can see if there's my holes. I'll be drilling that out, welding a nut on the back side, because you can't get your hand under there. You're never going to be able to get a nut on that side, so I'll have to weld one on there. Shouldn't be too difficult. Once I get that done, it's going to have to be put back on there, and then I'm going to have to mark on the underside where the studs are going to go once I get this side thing figured out. A lot of taking on and off, and I can't even do, this one's too heavy. I could probably do it, but I'm risking hurting my back doing that, so kind of need help with this bigger one. The smaller one I can do myself, but this bigger one has to be mounted first to know where the smaller one's going to go, because I'm going to butt them up. I'm not going to weld them together. They're not going to be connected. They're going to be separate, and that's just kind of for ease of installing, and if they do have to come out, we won't have a 16-foot workbench we got to deal with. It'll just be a bigger one and then a smaller one. So I'm going to get this taken care of. We'll get it fitted up there. Hopefully next time I come back here, you're going to see a workbench installed. Okay, so I've just gone with 1/4 inch, and nothing crazy for welding, just a couple spot welds there on each side. It's not going to hold the bench, it's just kind of holding it in place, so I feel like that's going to be enough. I gotta let this cool down, and I got to do a little bit of welding on some places to kind of make it look nice. A little bit of grinding here and there, and then it'll be ready for a test fit. Okay, so there we are, all finished up and bolted down pretty much where they're going to be. I got a little bit of adjustment here. I got to get these level, and then a little bit of adjustment right here. This one's a little higher than that one, so just a little bit more tweaking. I've got to make this hole bigger under here. You can see these areas here is where I welded a stud. I welded a stud to the bottom. Actually, I welded a bolt, and on a few places on the ends, and that's how it's basically being held down. You can see right there's the bolt. So it's bolted down. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid, and these are all empty and they're missing drawers. So once these are loaded down and this is bolted to there, I think it's going to be a real solid piece. Plus it's bolted to here on the back side of the cabinet, so it's pretty solid. 3 bolts across there. So this thing ain't going anywhere. Now I got to pull it off, do my little bit of tweaking that I got to do, and these are going to be painted. So that's what I'm going to do next. One other thing, you can see that this is not going to be level across there. unless I cut the legs off on these workbenches. I really don't want to do that, so probably not going to be level all the way across, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. If it really bothers us, I think we'll just cut these legs down and make it level, but I think we'll be okay. I was wanting it to be level all the way across there, but somehow these benches got lower than I was anticipating them. So, but anyway, gotta unbolt them now and start painting. Okay, so I sanded down the countertops, did a little bit of sanding. I'm not, you know, making these things show quality. They're workbenches, they're going to get used and abused. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time smoothing it out. Just kind of sanded out some of the bad scratches. Now I'm going through and just kind of spot priming the top. I primed the back side with some red Rust-Oleum primer. You're never going to see it. That's what we had the most of, so that's what I did. Doing the top side with the lighter primer, because the top side is getting some gray paint. I'll show you what I'm using, I guess. Okay, so what I'm going to use for this is the gloss smoke gray in the Rust-Oleum. In the quartz, found this at the local Ace. I'm going to thin that with the mineral spirits to be able to spray out of my gun here. I think that's going to be a lot easier and a lot better than using all the spray cans. Usually I use the spray cans for the Rust-Oleum, but that's a lot of surface, and it's just going to be quicker and easier to use my big gun here. Hopefully this gray is the same gray as their dark machine gray. It looks pretty close, so that's we're hoping to match the gray on these cabinets, so I guess we'll find out once it's done. So the idea behind the gray is to continue on this gray of my cabinets that I got there. You got that gray, it'll be gray, and then I'll redo the top of this workbench, and then the bottom side of this workbench will be black. So we'll have a gray black theme, kind of like these cabinets here. So that is the plan. Okay, so I finally got these benches painted, and I really am not liking how the way they turned out. You can kind of see there the blotchiness of the glossiness of this paint. Looks to me like the primer is kind of reacting to the paint, which doesn't make any sense because they are both Rust-Oleum. Anyway, it's been 2 days because these things will not dry. Like I said, it's been 2 days. This one here, it feels pretty nice and dry. This one near the end seems wet yet. And like I said, 2 days, that's kind of ridiculous. But what's going to happen is we're going to install these the way they are. And then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to repaint them while they're on the toolboxes. We'll let this all cure and do whatever it's going to do. Probably just going to try rolling the paint on, and we'll see how that goes. But this is why I don't like to use paint I've never used before, because this is the kind of stuff that can happen. I thinned it with mineral spirits, and I think that was a mistake. Probably will not thin that paint ever again with mineral spirits, because it's just really hard to work with. But anyway, that was kind of a failure. Gonna move on. Okay, so I'm getting some of the pegboard organized again. I've got it all painted black. Well, I guess it's not black, whatever it is. Whatever the color was that they mixed up for me. I know it wasn't completely black. I think they even said it was in the blue family, but it definitely doesn't look blue to me. But anyway, it's painted. I'm probably gonna give this a couple days before I start hanging stuff on it. Let it get all nice and hard. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to get my light hung up. Somehow I'll try to figure that out. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the top of the benches to cure up a little more so we can put it on there, I'm going to deal with the bottom side here. You can see I used 2x4s down there, and then I also had to level them out because this concrete is very unlevel there, and they're all different levels. And I don't really want people to see the 2x4s and the stuff I used to level it out with. So what I went and did is I went to the hardware store, got this stuff. I believe they use it in kitchens or and stuff like that, or in industrial places, and it's like underneath the toe kick. Anyway, it's rubber. It's got a little flare on it at the end. I cut this down to 2 inches, and I'm going to run one piece all the way across there. It's pretty cheap, I think 49 cents a foot. And hopefully one piece, I had to notch some of it out to be able to span, you know, every time we get to a different one. So my idea is to install it there, and there's going to be a nice finished look under there. And I was going to paint it, but then I thought about this stuff. So I'm going to get that installed, and we'll see what it looks like. What a difference that makes, huh? Look how nice and clean that is. Didn't take very long to do. And it just totally finishes off the cabinets. You don't see any space there anymore. And it's got a nice kind of rounded edge. I really like it. I'm not gonna put a couple staples right in there. Right now it's just sitting up there. I'll put a couple staples in it so it don't fall down. And we're gonna be good. Really like that. Okay, so just for a little bit of fun, I also picked up some accent lighting from Amazon. And basically it is just LED strips, and it is RGB. so it changes colors. I'm going to add this to the bottom of the cabinets there, and then probably I got enough to do the bottom of my other cabinets. So we'll give that a bit of a underglow, I guess, just for a little bit of fun. I thought it was kind of neat. We'll see how it turns out. I'm going to get it installed and we'll see what it looks like. Well, so there you go, guys. A little bit of RGB action. I think it's pretty cool. It's going to look a whole lot better once I get the drawers back in and the bench on there. I did go all the way across to my cabinets there. Kind of went up and around underneath there. So, a cool custom look, I think. But hopefully gonna get the bench on today, or the bench top on today. The pegboard there should be dry enough. I gotta get some tools hung on that. So, gonna be a good day today, I think. Gonna get a bunch of these tools, if not all of them, hung back on this pegboard. Really liking the black. So, the chrome tools stick out a little better on the black than the gray. So, I'm gonna get going and start hanging some of these tools. Okay guys, so finally have pretty much everything in place. Got the bench top bolted down, got the drawers back in place. Got the pegboard, working on that. Got all the tools that we had up there back up there. And there's room for quite a bit more, you can see that, but none of that is set in stone on where everything's going. I just kind of put stuff in place so I could get the bench top back on. But I'm kind of liking the setup of the pegboard now. Didn't get this bench finished up. Didn't get the other one finished up either, but this video is probably getting fairly long. So I'm gonna end it here, guys. I'll continue on and we'll finish up some of this other stuff. But for the most part, it's pretty much complete. Really happy with that, how everything turned out, except for the paint on the bench here. I think that could have turned out a little better, but I think the color is really close. You remember I was trying to match this and continue the gray on, and I think we got a really close match. Just you know, didn't work out. I will probably gonna redo that. I'm gonna let this cure up for a bit before I try to do that. But you know, it come out okay. For a workbench, I probably could leave it because we're just gonna scratch it and everything anyway. It's gonna probably end up like this eventually. But you know, I would like it to start out a little nicer than it is. Anyway, there's really nothing in the drawers right now. I mean, we got a whole bunch of drawers here. Whole bunch of space to fill up. With those toolboxes plus I've got that one there too, so that one's completely empty right now. And yeah, I guess we got plenty of tool storage, guys. This is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And finally got her done. Like I said, I'm really happy with this. Matches those cabinets really nice. Black and gray theme. Really working pretty good. That bench there, probably gonna do the same thing. We'll do the gray top, and then everything down below here will be black. So once I get to that, I'll do a video, show you what I do, but I guess that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I really like this setup here. I'll see you guys in the next one.